Okay. That segment on the past sucked. So let's leave it in the past, not worry about it. If you're coming in at this point, that's great, okay? All I basically said was that other forms of government have not seemed as good as a democracy. So let's talk about the present. This is the new Life Sciences building here on U of M campus. Modern architecture at its finest. Okay, so where are we now? We've got a democracy, right? No, we don't. We have a republic. The democratic ideals that this country was founded upon are slowly being whittled away by corporate interests, especially from the military-industrial complex. This war in Iraq was not based on weapons of mass destruction. It was not based on a desire to spread democracy across the planet. If that was true, why is our current administration whittling away the checks and balances that keep this nation democratic? Okay? And why? Okay, alright. So what is the problem with our current democracy? Our current government? We're not being represented. All politicians speak to great idealistic concepts while they're running for office, and then once they get in, there's no accountability for them to follow their word. Their speeches were to get them the power, and then once they have the power, they do what they want with it. And our current administration is one of the best examples of this. If you go back and look at his speeches while he was governor of Texas and running for president the first time, he sounds great and totally different from what we've seen in the past 7 years. He spoke of compassionate conservatism, but his actions have neither been compassionate nor conservative. And by conservative, I'm speaking of this Republican ideal that they represent, that they are the party of smaller government. Yet he gets into power and our spending has increased more than any administration in the past. I mean, and it's all being funneled under national security through the military to private firms. And we don't know what the spending is because of national security. It's all secretive. And alright. So what's the problem with our republic? There's no longer any accountability. Without a very real fear of impeachment proceedings, our president can get away with whatever he wants. And the checks and balances, man, just been eroded. He's been sliding in legislation, and this is the head of our executive branch. He's not supposed to be making legislation anyway, but there's this trend of presidential directives that started before our current president, certainly. There was one that was concealed from us that I didn't know about, that Clinton put into law, that was not made public until a presidential directive that Bush signed in overturned it, and that was relating to emergency powers. Now Bush has put in even stronger emergency powers for the president. Basically, if we have a catastrophe of any sort, our president becomes a dictator for at least a month, or as long as he sees it necessary. which means he can do things like suspend Congress because it's not safe for them to meet, postpone elections, and even more recently he's put in a separate presidential directive that says that anyone thwarting our efforts in the war in Iraq can have their property confiscated by the government. And what happens then? If the government sees a property that they find strategic interest in, are they just going to claim that the owner of that property is aiding terrorists in Iraq to take over that property and establish a base there? And then what's that person going to do once he's in a prison and his property is already taken from him? Dangerous trends. I gotta check timing. Alright, 6 minutes. I got a couple minutes here. So, we're in a bad state, and I think people are waking up to this fact that our current system of government is not representing the populace. It's not helping our aims. We're all basically indentured servants to this financial system we've constructed where every dollar is on loan from the Federal Reserve and everyone is paying interest on that loan. How many of you have huge debts like I do, or a mortgaged home, or we've been complacent in this because authority only has as much power as we give them. We give them authority, especially people who speak out against videos like this by just throwing names or, you know, calling this idealistic dribble. But listen, this isn't working. We've got to figure something out better for the future. And that's going to be hard. Because we're going to have to question everything we believe in order to step into the next big change. The Aquarian Age. Abandon these Piscean thoughts. With that, let's move to a different location for a discussion of the future. Possible scenario for the coming apocalypse. Let's talk about it. Alright, see you soon.